I just competed in my first big Scrabble tournament in about a year. It started with a best of 7 exhibition match against former World Scrabble champion Wellington Jigare. While I definitely made the biggest mistakes in this match, I got bailed out by much better tiles and I managed to defeat the champ 4 games to 2. Wellington would get the last laugh, winning the much more grueling 27-game main event with a round to spare, while I stumbled along to ninth place. Still, I had several truly memorable games, including one on the live stream that stands out as one of the most epic games I've ever played. In round 14, I'm paired with multi-time African Scrabble champion and former Nigerian champion Dennis Ikekeregor, a very tough opponent. He gets off to a fast start with Scholler for 78, and I'm fortunate to have a bingo of my own to keep pace. Betitled is available here for 66, but it allows Dennis easy access to the triple word score and opens another strong scoring spot for the Q or X, making my other option of bittered the better choice. I get a lucky break here that Dennis doesn't spot his playable bingo of Dormancy for 74, instead playing Chromie for just 32. I draw a few too many vowels after my bingo, but I'm close to another and I play EE for 17, saving the O to use for scoring plays alongside the B and creating another lane for 7s. Despite these advantages, playing OE instead gives me a much greater chance of bingoing on my next move, so this is a slight mistake. Dennis answers with Dant undoubling his ends, and I draw the blank on my 2-tile pull and play Naughtier for 78. Plays like Area Night are also available here as well for 1 more point. These options offer more bingo opportunities back to Dennis, so I opted against them. As it turns out, Area Night would have blocked both spots for his response of Sinopia for 70. Despite being down again, I have a lot of scoring power on my rack, and with a wide variety of options available here, I found a creative one in Fax for 46. This move sets up my Y for very big responses, including a guaranteed Y for 50 if Dennis simply plays through the newly opened A. Somehow, I missed picks in the same spot, scoring 9 more points, but without the promise of such a powerful follow-up move. Of course, if Dennis has an O, he can also answer with high-scoring OXO plays. In fact, he doesn't have a single vowel on his rack at all. Instead, he has the second blank, and he uses it to play winching for 66, obstructing my setup while generating 2 new good scoring spots. Next, I can play Prev or Perv for 47, retaining my Y for Oxy. I see these options, but I opt for Weepy for 43. I did this because I felt that after winching, the Y setup was nowhere near as powerful. This was a miscalculation. After Prev, there are lots of things I can still draw that play for big scores in that spot, like Swy for 58 with just an S, a variety of 44-point plays through the G like Yuga, Yagi, Yoga, Yogi, and Yahe, and even some crazy stuff like Wifey for 76. If anything, the spot is just as strong as it was before, so holding on to the Y with Prev is my best choice here. However, I'm very fortunate that my mistake of Weepy inadvertently blocks Dennis's bingo of Gabels. He instead plays Glay, holding strong bingo tiles, and I've got another tough choice. I can play Dick through the C for 39, leaving decent bingo tiles, but the board has very little room for bingos right now. Dirk in the lower left scores an excellent 50 points, giving me a narrow lead. Not only that, it places a D in the lower left corner, and I really like putting a good tile to end 8-letter words in that corner as a potential lifeline to me later on. After some thought, I play Drive for 44, 6 fewer than Dirk. Drive also places a D in that square, which is good, but it keeps the K on my rack instead of the V, which sets me up extremely well to use the C of winching. Dennis will often play something with OXO, after which I can draw a huge number of plays through this C, forming the CK combination, even with J and Z draws. Computer analysis expects that I average 10 more points per turn after Drive than after Dirk, more than accounting for my 6-point sacrifice now. My plan comes together as I draw the Q and U and threaten Quick for 63, but Dennis blocks it with Vice for 39, his strongest move. Fortunately, I have a good backup plan with Quonk for 48. Dennis makes another good move of Ulva in the lower right, and I draw the Z, always a welcome sight. However, in this position, my moves that use the Z are uninspiring. Zig for 31 is a non-starter, giving Dennis an easy shot at a triple word score. Pies and Pies aren't much better, once again opening easy access to a triple word that instantly becomes the best place to play. Zay for 35 keeps a very weak leave, and if Dennis uses up the last good scoring spot with Oxo, I'll still be trailing with weak tiles on a board with no scoring opportunities. And the same goes for Ads for 33. Dennis's lightning fast play puts me in serious time pressure, and I need to come up with something that gives me a more realistic pathway to victory. Finally, with all of these 30-point plays on offer, I decide on something totally different. Rudd for just 9 points. This play sets up my Z to score 64 points next turn, a potentially game-deciding play on a board this constricted. But a player of Dennis's caliber is going to sniff this out and block it whenever possible. The real value of this play is as a diversion. When Dennis blocks, he won't be able to score well in the process. There are no good bonus squares or overlaps in this area. What I really want is to draw the last N from the bag, which will give me Zingle for 70. And with 4 A's remaining in the unseen tiles, if I manage to draw 2 of them after Rudd, I'll have Agatized as a massive bingo. As it turns out, Dennis has rearmost through the E. He sees it, but my Z setup motivates him to pass his bingo and block the spot, an even better outcome than I expected. And to my shock, I draw AA from the bag and hit the enormous Agatized to surge far into the lead. With 2 tiles left in the bag, Dennis gives me a scare when he answers with Smarting for 86, his 4th bingo of the game, putting him nearly even on the scoreboard. But I can breathe a sigh of relief after drawing a balanced rack containing the J. After our last 2 endgame moves, I end up with a 491 to 481 victory. This game was filled with challenging tactical decisions, and while I didn't nail each and every one of them, I'm happy with how I played this game overall. My move of Rudd was a huge turning point. Given that Dennis had bingos on his rack multiple times late in the game, none of the normal plays were likely to get the job done for me in this game. Commentator Matt Canick said it best during my post-game interview.
Who would have thought in a game where your play scores 66, 78, 46, 43, 44, and 48, it's the 9-pointer that we'd be talking about afterwards. That seems to be a trend, though, in high-level Scrabble, right?
Yeah, it's those little moves that don't look like very much when they hit the board, but end up making a whole load of difference. Who knows? This would be hard to turn this one down for video status at some point.
July is a big month on the Scrabble calendar each year. My original plan was just to play Albany, but I have some huge announcements for you all. I'm excited to share that I have actually signed up at the last minute to compete at the Scrabble Players Championship in South Bend, Indiana in just about a week from now. You can watch the live stream at twitch.tv/Scrabble. Not only that, I will be hosting the live coverage of WGPO's Word Cup right here on this channel the very next week. We'll see if I can keep up my weekly uploads through all of this, but either way, a ton of fantastic Scrabble content is coming your way very soon. I hope you're as excited as I am for the next few weeks, and as always, thanks for watching.